we were mentioning a moment ago, this number here, 1,173, is the number of times, and I don't know who counted them, but somebody did, the number of times in the Bible where a different and specific geographic location is mentioned. And of course, the Bible is 100% inspired by the Holy Spirit. There are no wasted words in the Bible. And this is a significant thing. And we're going to study it. So this is our introduction to Bible geography. And so on number 1 on the sheet, you see something mathematical there. It's 35.148.082-808595566. Yes, that's the precise location of where we sit right now. I have an app. On my phone. You just, I'll show it to you afterwards, but it's free and it'll show you precisely where you are, wherever you are. I use it for the Sons of the American Revolution when we locate a grave of a Revolutionary War patriot, and so other people can come and look at it. We note a specific location that you can just link to and go right to it. And on this app, I also discovered something that's important. We are 600 right here, 651 feet above sea level. Isn't that amazing? And that's important to know. You know, it's important to know if you're in a floodplain or not. And the app said it was accurate within 24 feet. Within 24 feet, that's of the whole world. And this is a composite of 15 out of 24 potential satellites that continuously serve this area. 15 out of 24 gave me this reading, and it's accurate within 24 feet. So it's important to know where you are. Can you imagine all the people in the past that got lost and ran into lots of trouble? But if you had this app, you could figure out where you were.
Stay away from the Indians.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So it's important to know where you are. And if it's important for us to know where we are, it's important to know where people were in the past. So we've talked about this. So what part of the Bible is inspired?
Ron, what part of the Bible is inspired? What part of the Bible is inspired? Every bit of it.
Every bit of the Bible is inspired, absolutely. So noting that, what part of the Bible can we simply neglect or not pay attention to?
None.
That's right. We have to take mind of it all. Now, the word geography comes from the Greek word geographia, which means earth writing. So when you talk about geography, it's earth writing. People write about the earth. It's a written documentation about some place on earth that people have left over time. Now, this is important because we can locate places that don't exist anymore because somebody in the past wrote about it. Okay, so now this is the interesting part. At least I think it's interesting. Some Bible geography questions. So we'll see how much we know. What is the lowest point? That's 450.5 feet negative below sea level on Earth.
The Dead
North
Sea.
Pole?
The Dead Sea.
Oh,
The Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is the lowest place on Earth.
Now,
If you-
what made you guess that, honey?
I've read it somewhere.
Isn't that amazing?
It is 450 feet below sea level, if you can imagine such a thing. That's a deep hole in the ground right there.
And
Okay.
Ron, why is it called the Dead Sea?
Because nothing lives out there.
Why?
It's too salty.
How did you know that?
I just took a guess at it. Just like Margaret did. She's read so much. I just figured it was a Dead Sea. Nothing was alive, so.
Well, the only way that,
Can you float in that?
No.
yeah, you can float all day long and twice on Sunday. Salt water, the more salt in the water, the more buoyant you are. The hard part would be to sink. You'd have a hard time sinking.
Is it good for your body?
They say so, but it's awful hot down there. It's not a place I don't think I'd want to I might want to go see
But
it.
where
but
is the Dead Sea at? Is it between Israel and Egypt?
It is. You have the geographic.
Coming down from the Red Sea?
Yeah, you take Mount Hermon in the north, where all the snows are.
Because
I'm going to explain it to you. Mount Hermon is the highest place in Israel, where all the snowfall is, and in the spring that water melts and flows down into the Sea of Galilee, and from there it flows down into the Jordan River, and from the Jordan River it flows into the Dead Sea. But since the Dead Sea is the lowest place on earth, it's got nowhere to go, so it just stays there and
And it has no outlet.
has no outlet.
correct me if I'm wrong, is Israel connected with Africa or they're kind of separate between?
It
the
is,
seas?
it's different. It's totally different.
They're not connected together or nothing like that? Because
No.
because if you look on the south of Africa.
Okay, Israel's borders Sinai, which is part of Egypt. So the southern Israelite border is in the desert, and it's not in Africa.
Okay, because I thought part of Africa was part of Egypt and all that.
Well, part of Egypt is in Africa, but part of it's not. So Sinai is not in Africa.
That kind of, that's a mind blowing because you figure, how can that all happen? You know?
Yeah.
So it's good to study about this stuff to
Yeah.
know, well, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, so it's good.
So here's another question. Why, when you read the Bible from any direction, if people say they're going to Jerusalem, why from any and every direction does it always say they're going up to Jerusalem?
Because it always points north, right?
Nope.
Well, I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
just,
doing the best I can.
yeah, it's okay, Ron.
Is
It's
it
okay.
at a higher elevation?
Right.
It's on a hill. I know.
Right, it's on Mount Zion. It's on a hill. So from any direction, if you go to Jerusalem, you're going up. So if you're coming to Jerusalem from the south, you're going up. You from east or west or north, you're going up. So that's why it said, so now you and I think when you go up, you of necessity have to be going north, but that's not true. Now, in Israel, if you're going to Jerusalem from the south and you're going north, you're going up. But if you're going from the west,
Nazareth.
going east to Jerusalem, you're going up. If you're coming from the north, going south to Jerusalem, you're going up. If you're going east from Israel to Jerusalem, you're going up. Any direction, you're going up, because the Bible talks about up and down in terms of elevation, not direction. So we wouldn't know that if we didn't study the Bible. Now, this is interesting. Name us, let's think about it. What is a river that you can think of that flows north?
In the Holy Land?
Anywhere.
No one from
The the Red Sea or something?
No, the Red Sea is not a river.
Jordan?
No, not Jordan. Let me think. I don't know.
Ron, do you know anything
No,
about
because it
the
goes
Red
down into the Dead Sea.
What about Galilee? No.
That's not.
I'm doing the best I can trying to come up with this, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I,
Now, Ron,
So
you'd
it has to
mentioned,
be, which side of the equator does that be?
right. Think about, you'd mentioned Africa a minute ago.
right.
In Africa
Where's
is,
the Euphrates?
the Euphrates is in, Arabia. It's in the Middle East.
That kind of-
It does not flow north.
No. So it's gotta be right there near that line
The Nile?
of separation.
Nile, you
It
got,
flows into the Mediterranean.
yes, and it goes straight north.
Yes.
That's
And-
that's impossible. How can it go north?
Because rivers flow by elevation. It flows from high, Mount Kilimanjaro, Lake Victoria, down the mountain, into the Nile, down and down and down and down and down, and then it empties out into the Mediterranean. So it's flowing north, but water doesn't care what direction it's going in. Water only is driven by elevation.
Well, see, I didn't know that.
Well, now you do.
All my life, I never heard that.
See, these are all some reasons why we should study Bible geography.
Every time we say about theology, they're always precise. Everything what the Bible says is true about everything, about the nails, the land, the history, about the buildings. Matter of fact, there was somebody studying about the geography, about the Bible.
Mhm.
They said it wasn't true like that, but when they went over to Israel, they went to Jerusalem, they dug up a lot of stuff, and they kind of found out the Bible's accurate.
Right.
It was accurate about everything. They said, how can this be? How can this not be? He said, well, the Bible was accurate. We can't go wrong with the Bible.
That's right. Okay. Now, we talked about a river that flows north. That's the Nile. What Bible nation means red?
Let me put on my thinking. Yeah.
What nation? Well, just to make it a little easier. What did when Esau ate the soup from Jacob when he sold his birthright? What kind of soup did he eat? Lentil soup, which is in the Bible, Hebrew, means red. The soup was red. And so the Hebrew word for red is Edom.
Edom? Oh, wow.
And so that's why Esau's descendants were called the Edomites, after the word red, which came from the color of the soup that he ate.
Well, there are red lentils there.
Yeah.
Well, Edom sounds like the word.
Well, it's a Hebrew word, Edom in English.
But it sounds like a Jewish name. It sounds like an English name
Well,
translated to Eve.
the point is that it's interesting and informative. This is where we can learn some theology from the geography, that words mean things in the Bible. Okay, so what is the significance of the phrase that a figure of speech? A figure of speech. This is a figure of speech from the ancient Jewish times. What is the significance of this figure of speech? From Dan to Beersheba.
Beginning to end.
That's close.
West to east.
The city of Dan was where in Israel geographically?
I'm horrible at that, if I don't memorize it.
Okay. And the city of Beersheba is where geographically in Israel?
It's a little length up in Bashan.
Yeah.
No.
The figure of speech in Israel was when you said from Dan to Beersheba, you were talking about the total length of the nation. The city of Dan was at the far north, and the city of Beersheba was at the far south.
Are you talking from north to south?
Yeah. Now, if we have a similar figure of speech in the United States, we call it from New York to LA. It's the same kind of thing. So that's what that means. So we wouldn't know that unless we studied the Bible. Now, this is interesting here. The length of biblical Israel from top to bottom is approximately 160 miles.
Huh.
From the very southern border to the very northern border of biblical Israel, Dan to Beersheba, 160 miles.
The Dan was Shabri were Israel people, right?
Yes. Yeah. There are cities in Israel.
160.
Yeah. And the width of the country is only 60 miles from the far eastern border to the Mediterranean is just 60 miles at its widest point.
It's
So
like a county.
That would sound like what England would be like, because it's,
Israel is a very, 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 very small place
is it
geographically.
smaller than England?
Yes, much smaller.
Because England, from what I heard, from say, Scotland to,
Well,
it's like,
it's
about size of North Carolina.
North Carolina is much bigger than Israel. If you stop to think about it, 160 miles from here, basically Israel from top to bottom is about as far a drive as it is for us to go from Charlotte to Mayberry. Not Mayberry, but what's the name of that little town?
Raleigh.
No,
Wouldn't Raleigh be
the
about
little,
160?
no, that's even further. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
But if you go from Charlotte to,
Anvil?
no, well, it's close to Danville. It's the place where,
Chapel Hill?
no, it's that town, where, what's his name was, from.
Roy Underhill?
No,
I'm just guessing.
You mean the
the
TV?
TV town was called Mayberry, but that's not the real name of the place.
What's the name of that show? We were watching it. I mean, we were talking about it the other day.
Andy Griffith Show,
Mayberry.
yeah, but the real name of the town is something else.
Okay.
But that's about as far from the South Carolina to the Virginia line. That's about as far as Israel is from north to south. And then,
Charlotte to Raleigh is 166 miles.
oh, okay. All right. It seems a lot longer.
Yeah.
It must be because there's no direct route. Well, there is a direct route, but it goes through every little,
So it's
Secondary
basically
roads.
6 miles further
yeah, than
than the entire length.
of Israel.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know, I'm beginning to really,
And,
I was not much on geography about studying about that stuff till now.
and if you got in your car and drove 485 all the way around Charlotte to where you started, that's about 60 miles. That's as far as it is from one side of Israel to the Mediterranean Sea.
So at 60 miles an hour, about 1 hour, you
Yeah.
can go all the way across
Yeah,
Israel in one direction.
right. And about 3 miles if you're going north to south. So it's not a big place. It's, now, here's another question. Biblically,